Hey Shackers, welcome back to This Week in Switch 2. I'm your host, Asif Khan. I'm CEO, Editor-in-Chief, EIEIO here at Shacknews. That stands for Extremely Intelligent Extreme Intelligence Officer. In an era where line go down, I make line go up by making up random things, like an AI CEO would, except I'm not using some stupid chatbot to do so. I'm joined by three people today, but I'm joined by my usual co-hosts. I have David Craddock, our head of long reads and managing editor and guy in San Francisco at GDC, Game Developers Conference. Kind of in the heart of the hamburger district. I'm not sure if they still have a lot of hamburgers around you, but last time I was there, there was a hamburger bubble in San Francisco.
Ooh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I think it's called Super Duper Burger. I think it's one of the places. It's pretty decent.
Okay.
My review for Super Duper Burger, decent.
Pretty decent.
And then my other usual co-host, we have news editor and Pokemaster Donovan Erskine is here.
What's up?
Nintendo stock, oddly enough, and joined by our senior news editor, reviewer of Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection, and the person who named This Week in Switch 2, TJ Denzer is here.
I'm wearing my Final Fantasy shirt again today, which they did a collaboration with Monster Hunter Wilds, which is part of Monster Hunter Stories, so it's all connected.
Awesome.
Yes.
We will get to TJ's review a little bit later, but we have a lot of Nintendo news that we wanted to hit. Specifically, we got the final trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And it was a direct, right? We got a Nintendo Direct, which means that most people on the internet are mad that it wasn't a video game focused direct, it was a movie focused direct. Miyamoto-san came out and said, this is the centerpiece of the Mario 40th anniversary celebration. So that implies that there's something on the other side, right? Like we've had some stuff last year, some stuff this year, the movie, and then maybe some stuff after the movie, like a Mario Galaxy 3 game. But
I feel like this hurts the chances of that being the case, no? That'd be the centerpiece. If you're releasing a new Mario game, that trumps everything.
Yeah, good point. I'm sure Nintendo doesn't want to make any money off of the promotion that they're going to get from this movie. You're right. They're not going to try.
The new Mario game will be enough. It's not going to be Mario Galaxy 3. I hate to break your heart.
It's going to be Mario Galaxy 3. I'm sorry. 10 tacos on the line. I
got my tacos all picked out. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, let's get into it, man. We got this trailer. This was a violent trailer. There's a lot of, Peach's castle is in peril. Bowser Jr. shows up with his spaceship and is like lifting the castle out of the ground, and you have all these little toads screaming and running for their lives. It's actually kind of violent for, a movie that appeals to kids and appeals to adults. I was like, whoa, this is like some, the stained glass window of Peach and her castle like shatters during this trailer. You're just like, whoa. I was kind of taken back by that because one of my friend's kids got scared of the original movie, and I felt like the original movie, and I think Illumination does this in a lot of their movies, that scene with the dog in the bathroom when Mario and Luigi are just plumbers in Brooklyn. I felt like that was like, if you can't handle this scene, get out now. But like this movie's like, this looks early in the film, right? We know that it's not the very beginning because Yoshi is there and Yoshi is friends with Mario and Luigi by then. It seems like discovering Yoshi will be the very, very early part of this film. But then like, this seems early enough where they introduce Bowser Jr. We've already seen some of the scenes from this where Bowser Jr. shows up and is like, I'm here for my father and like all that stuff. But we got definitely more of a look at all of this. It looks amazing. Like, just forget what's happening. The visual fidelity of this looks outstanding. The set pieces. And I thought that was something that was great about the original one. But it does, I don't know how, but it looks better than the first movie, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just because Mario Galaxy's color palette is just bursting
Yeah.
with so many more colors, and I feel like they're really taking advantage of that here.
And I think we're getting more of that, like, Mario vernacular, Mario, like, design vernacular of, like, lava and, you know, pipes and, like, all these things that, like, they introduced a little bit, but, like, now these are the Super Mario Bros. They have the Fire Flower power-up. Like, it's not, you know, like, the stuff that was, like, novel in the first movie is now just understood. You know, they established the universe, or galaxy, if you will, or galaxies. And yeah, now it's like they get to really, you know, like that, the whole Super Mario 2 scene, you know, with Wart and like what appears to be a casino with all the ninjas and Birdo. It's like one of the most vibrant things I've ever seen on a screen before. Like there's all sorts of crazy stuff happening there. But yeah, I agree. Like the color palette in this film is all over the place. We're like, you know, at least for about a third or a first quarter of the first movie, it's in Brooklyn and it's normal-ish, you know? It gets crazy. It seems like this movie gets crazy faster. There's no... I don't think this is an origin story, which I'm here for. And Chris Pratt and Charlie Day mentioned that it's a story about both the brothers. It's a journey where they're going to be together this time, which I'm here for because I love Luigi. And yeah, I think that's going to be cool. We still don't know, like, you know, I thought it was interesting about this trailer specifically. We didn't see any baby Mario or any baby Luigi in this trailer. So I wonder how long of the story they're actually going to be babies for. And I do think, Don, and this is like Mario Tennis Fever, where they get turned into babies and then they turn back to, they find a way to become adults again. But I do wonder, like, just how long of this movie are they going to be babies for? Because we didn't see a single baby Mario or baby Luigi in this trailer.
Seems like a second act thing. Like, you know, somewhere around halfway through the movie it happens, and that's like a little running subplot, and then they're back to their normal forms for the final showdown at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like a Star Wars kind of thing, Donovan, where it's like, you know, there's Luke is in the Dagobah system, and, you know, like Leia and Han are somewhere else, you know, like Empire Strikes Back, you know, how they're like separated. It seems like Peach is going to be fighting Wart, and she's with Toad, and like Rosalina is going to be off being a badass because she looks super badass. Can we talk about just how cute Brie Larson was during this direct? Like, she was super geeked to be at a Nintendo Direct. Yeah. Like, that was so, like, adorable. I was just like, she is a legit gamer. She is, like, a super fan for Nintendo. She's been an ambassador for their brand. But you can, like, tell she was, like, geeked out to be in a Direct. Like, that was so cute.
I always love that, like, when Brie Larson in gaming comes up, we often see that story about she broke up with a boyfriend because that boyfriend said she was playing too much Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah. And, like, good on her. No one should tell you to stop playing Super Mario Galaxy. But no, I thought that was super charming. And I'm excited for her performance as Rosalina. We did get a couple of casting announcements. I think some were unexpected or surprising. And I think it amped up the diversity of the cast, which was a criticism from John Leguizamo last movie. That he said the Latino people were underrepresented, and just in general minorities were underrepresented. So in this film, we got Issa Rae is going to be the Honey Queen. So we know that we're going to the Honeybee Galaxy, David, which I love that level. It's early on in the game, but it's a cool level.
It's a staple of Mario Galaxy. Like, you have to have the Honeybee Galaxy.
Yeah, and the Queen. It's like, that's cool that the Queen, like, we know the Queen's going to be it. Like, they haven't shown her, but, like, they announced that Issa Rae is going to be doing the voice of the Honey Queen. Thought that was cool. We got like, it's not just that Wart is in this movie now, David. It's that Wart is voiced by Luiz Guzman, which I was just like, what?
That's such a good cast.
That's great. That's like perfect casting. But like, Donovan, did you even know who Wart was before this week?
I was going to ask you guys on the show. No idea.
David, can you explain Wart to Donovan?
Okay, so Mario 2 USA was a dream. Mario wakes up at the end of this dream, but Wart is the big bad in that game that he has to fight. There's no Bowser in Mario 2. It's just Wart, this big dude named Wart.
So apparently we're now in a universe where Wart, who is a dream character, is now real. And the whole Mario 2 world is real now, David. So maybe those... I'm like, are those potion doors going to be in this movie? Like where? You know what I mean? Like, where are we going with this? The whole Dark World? Like, I love... Dude, Mario 2 is such a magical, different fever dream of a game. Like, what they could... Like, Birdo being in this, the ninjas being in this, like, what on earth are they going to do with that IP in this movie? I'm fascinated. But yeah, Luis Guzman's going to voice Wart. Wart apparently has a material role in this film. It's just hilarious. I did not have that on my bingo card at all. No. I saw Wart. I remember I dropped that in our group chat for the podcast, and I was like, David, Wart is on this poster. And you're like, what? And of course, I was like, I don't know who Wart is, but now you know. So I appreciate that. And the most random... This has to be the most random announcement of the casting since Chris Pratt. Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, or I guess he's no longer Childish Gambino. I think he's done with that arc of his life. Because now he's Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they need someone to say Yoshi a bunch of times, and I guess that's his job now.
I believe Chris Malhandry said he's a super fan of the Nintendo games. I believe that. It's just kind of hilarious to me. It's fine. Like, I'm not mad at it. People being mad at this are dumb, but it's just I found it incredibly silly, and it reminded me of the announcement of Chris Pratt as Mario. Obviously, much more important role.
Right. If Donald Glover does nothing but say Yoshi for this whole movie, I want to know like how much they paid him to come home and say Yoshi.
Yeah,
in a bazillion different cadences and tones.
It's like Vin Diesel being Groot for
exactly.
No, you're right.
That, yeah,
I think that's a great comparison. But yeah, Miyamoto announced... I'm glad you're here, David. I wasn't sure if you were going to be on the podcast this week, but I have great news for you. If you log in every day for the next 40 days to Nintendo Today, you're going to get a digital card.
Guess who's not getting a digital card?
It's like David's personal hell. It's a month and a half.
So I logged in today, and I got 2 cards already. So
you got 2 cards? What can you do with the cards?
I don't know. Do with them? I don't know. You collect them. But then also, apparently, if you have the app and you go to the movie theater with it and you check in, there's going to be these posters that you can take photos with that are going to have... I don't know exactly how they will work, but maybe there's like some AR component. All I know is that Miyamoto really wants you to use Nintendo Today, David. So maybe
he does. All right, I'll try it. I'll log in right now.
Yeah, I did it, and I'll do it again. But yeah, I find it charming just how much he wants us all to use Nintendo Today. He's trying. He did say that they're going to have exclusive Mario movie content on the Nintendo Today app. You got your Animal Crossing theme there. But yeah, I think if you scroll down and you just click on the Mario, there's like a Mario Galaxy hub or something now. It'll show you your cards that you got for the day. But yeah, he wants us to use Nintendo Today. So I just want to put out a PSA there for Miyamoto-san that he wants you to use Nintendo Today, and you should. And I do think... now, it wasn't all interesting content, but I don't know if you guys remember a year ago when the month leading up to the Switch 2 launch... they were dropping like random videos exclusively on Nintendo Today, and it was like, here's a 3D video of the box. Here's what the controller looks like, you know? So I think they're going to do something similar, but for the Mario movie. So if you're into exclusive behind-the-scenes kind of content, I think that might be an app to use. But that wasn't it. There's another, like, tangential thing that dropped at the time of this trailer. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to mention from the trailer before we move on? No? It just looks cool.
Oh, you're muted, TJ.
Sorry. I do want to kind of share, like, based on what I saw out of this trailer, I do want to kind of share a working theory I have.
Mm-hmm.
This movie might just be a celebration of all things Mario 2 across the entire franchise. And I mean that in the way of not just Mario 2 itself. Yoshi's Story, which was kind of technically Mario 2 on the Super Nintendo. Mario Galaxy, which was kind of the second generation of Mario games on the GameCube. And the only one that doesn't fit that so far is Odyssey.
Sunshine was on GameCube.
But Sunshine was like the first one, and then Galaxy came next, wasn't it? Or is it the other way around?
Galaxy did come after Sunshine.
Galaxy came next.
There were two Mario Galaxies.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is that Mario Sunshine is the first GameCube Mario game, and then Galaxy is the second GameCube Mario game.
No, Galaxy was a Wii exclusive.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, then that's...
But you're right. You're right that Super Mario World 2 was a Yoshi game.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you're right that Mario 2 was, you know, they put three Marios on the original NES. Which, oddly enough, they're going to put 3 Galaxies out there.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I do think it is a celebration of Mario 2. But your point kind of leads me to my next point, TJ. I don't think this is a celebration of just the Mario franchise anymore, guys. I don't. Because they dropped this the Gateway Galaxy website, which is like, it's like an airline website for booking tickets to different galaxies, David. And it, like, when you go there, it plays music from the Mario franchise. But they have this trailer there, and it's voiced by R.O.B, the robot. And R.O.B...
That's... Oh, go ahead, Asif.
R.O.B's not a Mario character.
I think this is where the Galaxies part comes in, right? We might even get teases of like Zelda. Like the Galaxies are just Nintendo Galaxies, with each galaxy being its own IP portal of sorts.
I have an imaginary tinfoil hat. I'm putting it on right now, because who can afford actual tinfoil in this economy? But
right.
R.O.B is in Smash. R.O.B is in Kart.
Mm-hmm.
R.O.B is in Star Fox 64.
So, and there was a Star Fox poster in the first Mario movie, right?
No, the R-Wing.
The R-Wing.
A R-Wing, like, sculpture, or like a collectible for an R-Wing, sits on top of Mario's television. Mario's bedroom is a magical place where all the Nintendo Cinematic Universe lives. And yes, I'm going to start calling this the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, or the NCU, because Rob's from Gyromite. Do you even know what Gyromite is, Donovan? No. Of course you don't.
No.
There was a game that had a fucking real robot that would grab gyroscopes and place them on different things that would trigger buttons in the game. You would have this weird contraption where it would be spinning tops that would lay on top of it, and depending on which one R.O.B put the spinning top on, it would hit the A or the B button, and that would trigger doors opening or closing in the game. This sounds like I'm spinning just insane random ramblings, but this was a real thing. This is how the NES launched in the United States, and it was because Nintendo wanted to make it a toy, not just an electronic device. It got it into Toys R Us. It got it into these, like, retailers that it wouldn't otherwise. R.O.B is a fascinating part of Nintendo's history. And R.O.B is something that, like, He's in Smash. He's in Kart. He's in Star Fox 64. And this is a space-based movie.
Yeah.
This is the perfect opportunity to introduce the Star Fox franchise to a whole new generation. I think we might get just a little bit. It doesn't have to be, oh my God, there's Star Fox. But like, I think they could tease it. And like that story, David, Star Fox, that would be a good movie.
That would be a great movie. I'm on board with this.
And I think it's like, it's not as big as Zelda. It's not as big as Donkey Kong. It's not as big as Mario. But if you attach it to Mario here, I think that this galaxy, the Gateway Galaxy, is this nexus where any Nintendo franchise can be connected now. Like, if R.O.B the robot is the guy behind the counter at Gateway Galaxy, I think anything is possible now in this franchise. Like, I think this is that moment where they expand to the cinematic universe. Like, why is it R.O.B?
R.O.B seems like the perfect host for this, actually. Like in a weird way, like he's just this robot. He's sort of outside any of these other IPs. He can be at the nexus of them, which I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah, he can be this thing that like, but he is in Smash. He is in Star Fox.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
he was my go-to main in Mario Kart DS. Like he was almost a cheat code. He was so good.
And they relegated him to be a damn motorcycle in Mario Kart World.
I know.
They massacred my boy. And like honestly, I'm trash at Smash Ultimate, but like I was pretty good with R.O.B. Like I love playing as R.O.B in Smash Ultimate. So it's just I find it fascinating that R.O.B is here. But also, we got all these voice actors announced, Donovan. Who the hell is voicing R.O.B?
It's a mystery.
Could go either way. It could be a random celebrity or just like a voice actor.
I have a theory. I think it's Charles Martinet.
Oh.
It'd be fun.
Charles Martinet. Yeah.
I think it might be Charles Martinet.
Interesting.
Because they didn't announce it. And they didn't even, like, R.O.B's not even in this trailer. R.O.B's in, like, a separate thing. The only time we saw R.O.B so far, and I referenced it in a past episode, R.O.B got leaked by a consumer package down, and he was, like, on some, like, Chips Ahoy package or something. But, like, this is the first time R.O.B's been confirmed for this movie. And it wasn't even in the trailer. It was in this website that, like, launched at the same time as the trailer. But, yeah, I just find R.O.B fascinating. I think that this is, like... I am going to jump to conclusion. I think this is the vehicle with which they're going to introduce Star Fox to everyone. And I think Star Fox would be an amazing IP to bring to the film industry. Like, it's fucking Star Wars. Like, it might be better. Because it's like, you could do a prequel. Like, you know, because James McCloud is dead. Spoiler alert for Star Fox and Star Fox 64, but like James McCloud is missing or dead, right? Star Fox's dad. You could like start there. How did he go missing? You could like introduce Andros to people, David. Like there's so much stuff they could do. And like that's a franchise that needs the revival, you know? But I think that just seeing R.O.B, and I was like geeking out with Greg. I'm like, Greg, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to bring Star Fox back. Like it's going to happen. But yeah, I also think that this is the birth of the cinematic universe. I think we've already seen the birth, but this is like confirmation that this is now like we're going to see a Smash Bros movie at some point. Like that's where this is headed. And you're saying that you and Greg were talking about you guys are we're going to be in our 60s by the time it happens.
Well, because they're doing this the right way, right? Like they're not going to DC this where they try to fit all these characters into one Batman versus Superman type movie. They're actually establishing each movie as its own vehicle. I wonder if we're going to see any connection in Zelda next year. Because that's the movie I'm really looking for. Like as excited as I am for Mario Galaxy movie, and I am, Zelda is my favorite franchise of all time. I can't wait to see that movie, and I can't wait to see if there's any connective tissue in there.
I think they're going to try to set that movie up for 9 movies.
Really?
I think they're going for 9. I think they're like, let's make as many Zelda movies as we can. Because think about how many stories you can tell in that universe. Think about the games and how they tell stories and how it's not always the same Link, right? Like there's different times, there's different timelines, there's different outcomes. Sometimes you defeat Ganon, sometimes you don't defeat Ganon. I'm really curious, but also just based on who they casted for it, Donovan, like it's like Harry Potter, where they casted 2 kind of lesser known young people, right? So that they can kind of grow up with the franchise. I think they're at least set up for 3 movies, David. And if it's like a financial success, like I think it will be, I think they might go for like 6 or 9, where it's like, let's let Zelda be its own thing. But
I was gonna suggest that maybe this movie comes out next year, does well, and then I could see the announcement from Nintendo and Sony that there's gonna be a trilogy, and they'll be like, part 2 comes out 2029, and then part 3 will be 2031, and then you have your Lord of the Rings sort of blueprint there. I could see them doing something like that.
To your point, David, Furukawa-san did say we are on a yearly cadence of movie releases. So we got the Mario movie this year, we got the Zelda movie next year. We don't know what the 2028 movie is yet. Right. And it's not going to be another Mario movie. I doubt it. It could be Donkey Kong, because I really do think Bonanza, if you turn Bonanza into a movie, that would be amazing to watch. And they already have the Donkey Kong model and the actor. And you know what? We have not seen Seth Rogen at all in any of these trailers. We haven't seen Donkey Kong once in these Mario movie trailers.
Yeah.
Which I still...
No confirmation that he's in it.
Yeah. Maybe he sucked that much. And I think this Gateway
Galaxy... give him his own movie.
I think Gateway Galaxy kind of confirms that... It kind of cancels out my theory that they were going to somehow shoehorn in DK Spaceport into all this. But we'll see. I mean, maybe you have to take I don't know. We'll see. Interesting times, though, for what I'm now branding the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. I think we're in it. I think we are now in the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. I think the Avengers Endgame of this is going to be Smash Ultimate. Like, at some point, there's going to be an envelope that shows up in the Zelda movie for Link, and there's going to be an envelope that shows... like, I could see how this will work. At the end of a movie, you get this envelope.
Yeah, I might have asked this before, but how do they handle Zelda? Do they just animate those characters, or do they put them on a green screen and have them interact with CG?
I think they go through a warp pipe and turn into the animated versions of themselves.
Yeah,
I think you see.
That makes most sense.
I think you'll see them turn into video game characters. Like, I think they could get like a physical. I don't know if it'll be in like the post-credits scene of the 3rd movie or whatever. Like, I agree, David. Like, we will be at the very least in our 50s by the time this happens. But I don't see how this doesn't end up in Smash. Like, this seems like we're headed to Smash.
Yeah.
Which also, like, what the hell is a Smash Bros. Movie? Is it like Mortal Kombat? Like, Shao Kahn shows up and is like, I have created a tournament to determine who is the best video game character. Like, how is this? The hand shows up. Like, how does this... I don't know how they're going to get there, but I think we've established with our deep dive into the Donkey Kong family tree that we shouldn't go too hard into breaking down the lore of Nintendo IP.
Yeah.
You don't think they're going to go full Subspace Emissary?
That'd be great. I love I think that might be the best story. Go ahead, Donovan.
They could take some creative liberties with it. I could see it being as simple as, after the events of the next Mario movie, Bowser's got some weird, crystal that gives him the ability to warp reality or something. But to me, the franchise I'm waiting to hear about, which is very integral to Smash, is Pokemon. Pikachu's a founding member of the Smash roster. Yeah. I couldn't imagine them doing a Smash movie without at least Pikachu in there, maybe a couple other Pokemon. No word yet on what their plans are for Pokemon in theaters, but you have to imagine that's coming at some point.
But, like, that's what's interesting about Pokemon video content to begin with. Like, it's always been integral to that IP. Be it the TV show, they've done their own movies, they did Detective Pikachu, right? Like, they've already done movies. So it's like, is Nintendo going to be influential in the decisions of the Pokemon Company with respects to that? Because you're right, if it is a cinematic universe and it is leading to Smash, Pikachu has to be there. So that, I think that's a great question. Like, what's the next move after Zelda?
You got me excited for a Star Fox movie. I think like the perfect Star Fox movie would be a melding of Star Fox 64 and Star Fox Adventure, which is an underrated game in my opinion. But like, because you'd need some action that takes place on planets and stuff, not just in the ships.
Yeah.
But I think they could take a.
You get world building is required.
Yeah. Exactly. You need some world building, but also I think for Pokemon, I wonder if they take some liberties with that in a Smash movie setting, and have a trainer be the main character in that. Like, throw out Pikachu, throw out Bulbasaur, any of the big 3 or 4 there, any other Pokemon. That way they wouldn't have to have individual Pokemon fighting, but you have a trainer who's kind of a part of it.
And Pokemon Trainer,
that would be cool.
I think was Trainer as a fighter introduced in Wii U or Ultimate, Donovan? I think it was Wii U.
Yeah, it might have been Brawl. No.
It was Wii U.
That was it Smash 4 that they introduced Pokemon Trainer? Maybe.
I think so. But that was the so that there is precedent for that, David, where like Trainer could be the introduction, and then they introduced Pokemon through Smash. Brawl. Okay, Brawl was the
Pokemon Trainer.
But yeah, like Pokemon Trainer introduced in Brawl, Subspace Emissary in Brawl. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think Star Fox would just fit, but it's not like Nintendo is so analytical that they're like, okay, our biggest IP is Mario. Our second biggest IP is Zelda. We've had this discussion on the podcast before. The third biggest IP is... and we had a bunch of people yelling Kirby at us. Which... Kirby, you want to talk about the main character of Smash? It's Kirby.
Another one.
Yeah.
So, like... at some point, if we are going to get to a Smash movie, I think the cadence of this entertainment IP has to pick up. It doesn't necessarily all have to be motion pictures, though. I think they can do TV show for some things. They could do their shorts for other things. But, like, we have to get there. Like, there has to be this, like, push to get there. I'm wondering if we're going to, like... Now that R.O.B is in this movie, I'm like, Miyamoto loves Pikmin. Is he going to find a way to put Pikmin in this movie?
I worry that like this movie could just become nothing but fan service. I don't think they need to cram everything in there all at once. Like they clearly held some stuff back for this movie instead of smashing it into, pun intended, the first Mario movie.
Yeah.
So now Pikmin would be a cool TV series, I think, cool animated TV series.
Yeah. But like it's also just something like why I mention them is that they can just be in the background of something. Like you could
Yeah.
I'm also coming back to the theme of space. Olimar is basically an astronaut. So it's like it wouldn't and Olimar's in Smash, but it wouldn't be like that crazy that you're at the Gateway Galaxy and Olimar and some Pikmin are just walking in the background. Like just that's it. It's like 3 seconds of the movie, but you just see Olimar and some Pikmin walking, like a purple Pikmin or something, just walking behind, like go into his ship or whatever. That wouldn't surprise me. Miyamoto loves Pikmin. It's just probably his most. I know he's like the Mario guy, but like you think about his most beloved IP these days, I think it is the Pikmin franchise.
Do you remember how Nintendo used Pikmin to announce like a new animation studio last year?
Yeah. Like that was the first public short dropped by Nintendo Pictures. The first time Nintendo Pictures was credited, TJ, was for the cinematics in Tears of the Kingdom. But the first time they were publicly out there, like, here's a Nintendo Pictures produced video, you're right. It was that Close to You short video that they did that one without the Pikmin because they were invisible. And then the next day they dropped the ones with the Pikmin. So I agree.
I also think that that would be a great way to go about a Pikmin like movie or TV series. Is like either a movie or a TV series of just things where like they're interacting and doing their Pikmin thing around people that don't even know they exist.
Yeah. But exciting times. As I said, I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off now. It's invisible. But yeah, I have dubbed this the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. And I think we're...
The NCU, I like it.
It's the NCU. We're just getting started. And I don't think they are going to be as aggressive as Disney was with Marvel or Star Wars. I don't think they're going to be that way. Nintendo is very careful with this stuff. And it's not their core business. This is like tangential to their core business. They view it, it's just part of their blue ocean strategy. So why I think Star Fox makes sense is it's an IP that's largely kind of forgotten or not really thought about these days. But it is internally at Nintendo, they love Star Fox 64. It's like one of their, I think internally it's one of those games they're most proud of. Like I think it's a game I go back and play every year. I consider it a 10 out of 10. I think it's a perfect video game. It has an insane amount of replayability. And I think it has really interesting characters, which is important to storytelling, right? Like, yeah. Star Fox is an interesting character. The villains, David, like Star Wolf, and like, there's just, I think that's an IP that could appeal to a whole new generation if done right.
Fox McCloud might be their coolest protagonist. Like, he has a really cool aura about him. Yeah, and I could see them going in a movie or TV show direction with Star Fox just because I feel like they're still licking their wounds from Star Fox. What was it called? Star Fox Zero on Wii U. Like, it didn't do very well, so they've definitely put that on ice. But as a movie, like, I'm excited about a Star Fox movie or TV show. That would be awesome. I'd be down with that.
Just a crumb of Star Fox, please.
Yes.
Another SNES character that was pretty cool was Captain Falcon. And now on to the big news of the week, David. I won again in F-Zero 99. It's my fourth win of the Meteor Spark event. Came on Mirror Deathwind 1. I am trash on these Deathwind tracks, which is hilarious. They're just ovals, but they're windy. I won on stream.
Nice.
So you can go back and watch the VOD. That was my first Thursday night stream since I got my time slot reassigned to me. I'll be playing Ball Pit this week.
Ooh.
Thursday night, I'm going to go after the Endless mode on Ball Pit. So maybe by the time the next episode of this podcast airs, I'll still be playing Ball Pit. It's hard to know. But yeah, I did get another win in F-Zero 99. So that's my big news of the week. But we have some other just Nintendo news stories I want to hit kind of quickly before we get to TJ's review. Yoshi and the Mystery Book. Speaking of Yoshi and Donald Glover, May 21st release date, Donovan. We got that news today.
Yeah. Casual Nintendo, just social media posts, news drop. There you go.
That's an announcement that normally would be made during a Nintendo Direct. So, weird?
Yeah.
Strange?
Not the first time they've done this recently either.
Find that.
There's a couple games I think that have gotten that.
Find that to be quite strange. Resident Evil Requiem, which David gave a 10 out of 10 and played it on the Nintendo Switch 2. Story DLC is in development, David.
Also, if I've been saving up and I bought my own invisible tinfoil hat, and my theory for this is you're going to play as Alyssa, Grace's mother, and one of the characters of Resident Evil Outbreak, and you're going to see what she was up to. So you see in the game. I don't want to spoil anything for TJ, but you see how Alyssa and Grace are connected over the course of the game.
Yeah,
and I think we're going to get more of Alyssa's backstory in this. I think if they want to go in an action-oriented direction, they could do more with Leon. And to be honest, like, I'd be down with that, but I'd be a little disappointed if they didn't do something more with Grace or Alyssa, because, like, you know what you're going to get with Leon, and it's super fun. But I love the Ashcrofts as characters, and I want to see more of them.
And they set it up early on in the game, like something happened in the past, right? And it's like you could do like a flashback kind of DLC for this, and it would be really cool.
Yep.
Like leading up to that moment where it Grace's flashback, you could like lead up to that moment with a DLC.
Exactly.
I think that would be really cool. I think the story in this game's great. So like, of course, like, dude, Capcom's on fire right now. Like,
they really are.
And like I've seen some people really break down the magic of the design of Resident Evil Requiem. Someone like was able to like mod the camera so they could zoom out in different parts. Like, it's not a wasteful game. Like they were smart with how they used resources in different moments in the game. And I think that's just like, it's game design at a very, very high level. And I think that's just, it's cool to see. Kudos to Capcom, man. Game of the year.
I'm excited for this.
Game of the year.
Contender for sure.
Leader, I would say.
Leader right now.
Leader.
I will say, Asif, this month, March 22nd specifically, a day before my birthday, is the Resident Evil 30th anniversary collection. So we might be getting even more Resident Evil news this month.
Hopefully 2, 3, and 4 for Switch 2 would be mighty fun.
That would be, like, if they just shadow drop those, holy shit, I will be absent that week. Yeah.
2, 3, and 4, man. Instant buy. That would be like instant buy for me.
They also said that a mini game is in development, David.
Yes.
I wonder if that's mercenaries. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that'll be out this May, which is pretty soon. That'd be cool if they do like a mercenary sort of thing. I loved RE9 so much that I'm kind of just down for whatever they do with it.
Seriously.
I'd be a little bummed out if we didn't get more like Grace in the DLC. I thought she was such a reason why the story worked for me.
Yeah.
But I think seeing stuff with Alyssa would be great. I think there's a chance we get more Leon. I feel like they have to do the dual character thing, even if like it's Alyssa and somebody else. I feel like you got to keep that going.
They get really experimental with the DLC for the new mainline Resident Evils. Like, I think the DLC for Village, which I never played, was you play as Ethan's daughter, and it's like 18 years in the future, right, TJ? So, like, she's a young woman. So they really go to places you wouldn't expect, which is really what has me excited for this DLC. Like, you have no idea what it could be, really. It could be in the past, it could be in the present, it could be in the future. They could do anything with it.
I am 1000% down to see more Outbreak lore. I love that they brought Alyssa back, and I would actually like to know more about like what happened to those characters. So that'd be dope.
Yeah.
There was a plumber in the original Outbreak games called David King, and he was a mysterious weirdo that could put like fully made weapons together from scraps. And I want to know what happened to that guy.
Nice. But yes, moving on to the next story. Fortnite on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. V-Bucks are experiencing inflation, Donovan. The price of V-Bucks today is not the price of V-Bucks yesterday. What the hell is going on? Why did this happen?
Yeah. It's funny. So the quote they put, the only statement in this blog post, they said, the cost of running Fortnite has gone up a lot and we're raising prices to help pay the bills. Here's what's changing on March 19th, which is when the prices will go into effect. They're pretty much, so the price you pay for V-Bucks is staying the same, but the amount you get is going down. So like the $8.99, you don't get 1,000 anymore, you get 800. I'm not going to go through the entire grid, but you're essentially losing value on all your V-Bucks purchases in Fortnite, which sucks. They actually lowered V-Bucks prices a few years ago, and it was this really big, what do you call it? Like brownie point move. It got them a lot of like points with the community, kind of when they were introducing new chapters. So now they've reverted back. But yeah, we got inflation in Fortnite world. So I guess Fortnite fans buy your V-Bucks now before March 19th.
Wait, yeah. How does that work? Like when it transfers, like, will you retain? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, once you've bought the V-Bucks, they're your V-Bucks. They're not going to change the amount.
Okay, so like they're basically creating a mad dash to the grocery store right now. It's like, hey, we're raising the price of toilet paper on this day, so now everyone's going to go buy it and hoard toilet paper. Okay, got it.
Again.
And why I think it's an apt comparison is I would wipe my ass with V-Bucks too. I don't fuck that shit. Like I don't give a fuck about any of these cosmetics in that game, David.
I'll be getting one to buy V-Bucks before they change the price. So it's working at least on one person.
I know. I'm sure it's working on millions of people, not just you. But it is a shitty thing. and a sign of our.
Yeah, fans aren't happy. I've seen a lot of the big accounts I follow making us think about this. Fans aren't happy. They're also changing battle passes a little bit. They're making the battle pass cheaper, but they're also making the rewards you get from it cheaper by an even larger amount than that. So even that's like not actually good news. Yeah, kind of whack. And this comes as like the current Fortnite season's gotten like extended a couple weeks longer than it was supposed to be. So people aren't like super happy with how that game's going this month.
Well, here's something that we should all be super happy about. We got a couple of little news bits. I don't think we talked about this last week. It might have come out afterwards. Castlevania Belmont's Curse is confirmed to be an adventure game, David, not a roguelite at all. But also, Sonia Belmont has been confirmed as Castlevania Belmont's Curse protagonist by Sony. Which is weird. But you would think Konami would have wanted to announce that in a more, cool fashion than just a blog post on PlayStation blog, but that's what happened.
If I may.
Yes, go for it.
I'm a lifelong fan of Castlevania. I love this series, and it was strange to most people that are fans of Castlevania for them to show a female Belmont and then not just say it's Sonia, because she's the only female Belmont that has ever had the whip in the series. And so I thought it was strange that Sony just said, yeah, it's her. But
it's strange.
It was 99% of the community was like, yeah, it's probably her. But I love this because Sonia Belmont has only ever been in a bad Castlevania game, which is it's Castlevania Legacy or Adventure on Game Boy, the original Game Boy. It's a very bad game. It's very buggy. It's not good. And it's the only time that we had a cool female Belmont holding the whip. So getting Sonia back is dope. I'm so excited for this game.
I'm so excited for it because, as Asif said, it's an adventure. I never really connected with the Metroid game. I love Symphony of the Night and those, but it became the mold for Castlevania going forward. I would love a spiritual sequel to Super Castlevania 4, which is still my favorite installment, and I'm just glad we're getting something more along those lines this time around.
Yeah, more just let me spam the whip, let me do sweet jumps.
Yeah.
I don't want to think. I'm tired of thinking in Castlevania games. I just want to play them and fight. And I feel like those first, obviously varying levels of quality, but that first 5 games in that franchise were more like that, and especially the NES and the S eras of them. So yeah, interested to see where this goes. This is definitely one of the most highly anticipated releases of this year. And a surprise. I think, we give out an award for biggest surprise. I think this being a game this year is a huge surprise. So excited to hear more about that. TJ, I figured this is a great time for us to talk about the game that you reviewed this week. Now, granted, you didn't play this on Nintendo Switch 2, but this is a game on Nintendo Switch 2. You reviewed Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection this week for us. You've been playing it for a while. I think you've had this game for almost a month or something. It looks great. What do you want to tell the folks at home about this?
Capcom has really turned this spin-off series into a viable, really fun kind of, I don't even know if I want to call it spin-off anymore. It's kind of its own thing. Monster Hunter Stories is a full-fledged RPG with creature collector elements. Mm-hmm. And this far into it, man, they've done a good job of expanding on those creature collector elements. This is a stat cruncher's dream when it comes to that kind of game. It's got a good story to it. You play these two you play a prince in one of these two kingdoms that are kind of suffering from this natural disaster that is crystallizing the land and making everything it's making monsters crazy, and it's making the grass die and the water dry up and really causing hard times. So one of the kingdoms is either going to go to war with the other one, or they're going to go to this forbidden land and try to find an answer to their problem. And in the midst of that, you play this prince who is part of this group of rangers that goes out and they look after monsters and raise them and try to find endangered ones and rehabilitate them into the ecosystem. And like the way that they've adapted Monster Hunter elements to this, it comes in sort of a rock paper scissors fashion where like the you play as yourself and you play as a companion monster that you can give commands to. And every attack has like a power, a speed, or a technique style to it. And the human and your character can choose between those styles, but every monster has like a strict style to it. So like Anjanath is a giant T-Rex, fire-breathing T-Rex monster, and it's a power monster, whereas Tobi-Kadachi is a fast-flying electric monster, and it's speed. And the reason that matters is that when two characters are going to attack each other at the same time on a turn in this, because it's a turn-based game, they enter a clash, and power beats technique beats speed, and speed beats power. And the winning style will cancel out the other character's attack. And that's how you win the battle. And so it becomes a matter of figuring out the enemy monster's style, what attack they're going to use, because sometimes they change styles on their attacks, and figuring out like the best pattern to beat them with the monsters that you have and your weapons. They bring in like 6 of the Monster Hunter classes, which I kind of think is you have the great sword, the bow, the gun lance, which is like my favorite, so I was at least happy to have that. But they have the hunting horn and the hammer, and each of them does a different style of damage, which is piercing, blunt, and slash. And then you've just got like a who's who of a lot of the popular monsters that have been throughout Monster Hunter. Like you got like Rathian and Ratha that are like the big front page monsters, but then you actually like I ran into a Devil Joe in that game, which is like, I don't know if you know who Devil Joe is, but that thing is horrible and intimidating.
Yeah.
And I was shocked to see that it's possible to fight them that you can then ride and take into battle. That's so dope. And then like getting into the customization elements of this, when you capture monsters, you have them at like a starting base level sort of thing and basic abilities. But the more you capture that same monster, you get this thing called habitat restoration where you release them into the wild again, and then it increases the quality of the monster in that region. So when you go out and look for eggs again, they'll be stronger. And then you bring them back and you can move like their abilities around on this little grid from one to the other or just on their own. And the idea is to try to make these abilities match up where like colors or styles of abilities cause a bingo across a line that then gives them better abilities. So I spent like dozens of hours not even progressing through this game. I spent dozens of hours just collecting eggs, bringing them back, strengthening the monsters, letting them loose, getting the genes I needed to create the one that I wanted that was like to create like this perfect party of super monsters that I would take into battle throughout this game.
Donovan, doesn't this sound like Pokemon in a lot of ways?
It does. I'm excited to check this one out. It's climbing up my list of games to play as I listen to TJ talk about it.
And the other thing I find interesting about this, TJ, and like we haven't mentioned it yet, but like this game has a beautiful art style and just graphic fidelity. Like I love like Monster Hunter, like the mainline series is graphically impressive and it's obviously like more realistic fantasy, but this is like you're watching an anime. You know, like this
game has a Saturday cartoon vibe.
Yes, and
I love that vibe as I went through this story because the characters are fun. They're fun to interact with. They're fun to learn more about. One of my favorites is Ogden, who is this old guy that's just like he's way into like hunting rare exotic monsters, and he's just got this pompadour, this old man with a pompadour, and he uses the hunting horn. And he's just so braggadocious all the time. And he's one of my favorite characters in there. But, like, you have different characters that you can take along as your partner with their own monster. And each one of them is, like, fun to use because they all have a different style to them.
That's awesome. Yeah, this looks great. So you gave it an 8 out of 10, right? Mm-hmm. What were some of the negatives before we move on?
That system I talked about with the stat crunching is amazingly in depth, but it is also very time consuming, and it's kind of hard to avoid using it because you've got to build a good stable of monsters to take into the fights. They're very hard fights, and like we're talking like you make one mistake in a fight and it could just wipe your team. And some of the harder ones. But outside of that, like I also think that I think they should have brought more of the weapon classes over. There's way too many weapon classes in Monster Hunter stories, or Monster Hunter as a whole, to just have 6 of them here.
I can see that.
And I think that like if you've been a longtime fan of like the twin blades or the insect glaive, you're going to be a little disappointed to not see your class here.
Okay, well, you know, I'm a basic greatsword kind of person, so I'm not too mad. But I get what you're saying. That is like a lot of people love the insect glaive specifically, so that is a miss. Monster Hunter game tedious? You don't say, TJ.
Yeah.
No offense to the franchise, but man, my 300 hours in Ultimate Monster Hunter 3 on the Wii U.
Yeah, and that way it's very, very spiritually a Monster Hunter game.
Yeah, exactly. Like these are, I mean, like, you know, people talk about the value of games going up or the price of games going up, but you think about how many hours you spend in some of these games, like $70. I don't know, is this $70? I think it is. For the amount of time that you have in these games is well worth it. Compared to like, you could spend $70. I mentioned it when we were complaining about Fire Red and Leaf Green a few weeks ago, Don. I'm like, $20. Like, if you use DoorDash ever, like, you cannot complain about the price of a Pokemon eShop game. Like, just stop. Just because the amount of hours you're going to put into Fire Red is going to be over 100, right, Don? And so, like,
Yep.
I just think Monster Hunter Stories and Monster Hunter in general, those mainline games they're a value just in the amount of time you can put into it. But you know, I get what you're saying about how like the leveling up and like the monster crafting, like or whatever, like the powers, like I could see how that would get really tedious.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like I would play the game for like 5 hours on one day and realize that I accomplished nothing in the story because I was just doing monster stuff all day.
Now it makes sense why they seeded us this review key so early. And technically it was a preview key, but then like it became a review key, but like it makes a lot of sense. And that's just, once again, thank you Capcom for doing that, because we got a better review out of it as a result. But also just another feather in Capcom's hat, David. They're crushing it this year. They are crushing it. And it's not over yet. We got Pragmata coming out in like next month. And that looks cool as hell too. It looks very different. Like these are 3 very different games all coming out within like 2 months of each other from Capcom. They are making the case for best publisher, best developer of the year right now, I would say. Like they are crushing it. And I'm seeing other developers now on my timeline, David, fawning over RE Requiem. Just like, this is a technical like masterpiece. Like people are just like, this is so damn impressive that they got it running on Switch 2 well, but also just like what it's doing on PC. Oh, the mods are here, by the way.
Yes they are.
There's the Thomas the Tank Engine mod is there. Which
there's a new one that makes liquor sound like Michael Jackson.
Oh my god. I saw one that turns the girl into Shrek.
Oh, that's no. That's the big fat zombie, the Chunk.
Chunk turns into Shrek. That's right. Which is just hilarious. You see Shrek and I saw someone like put Smash Mouth's All-Star music over the video of that. So the content is just getting started when it comes to just the fun things that are happening in RE. But yeah, this is exciting, TJ, that there's like I don't know, Wilds didn't grab me like I expected it to, and at the time my PC couldn't run it, but they have optimized Wilds in the last year. There's a rumor it's going to come to Switch 2, but this launching on Switch 2...
I was going to say, yeah. You can't play Wilds on Switch 2, but you can play Stories 3 on Switch 2.
And I mean, the Stories franchise, TJ, has kind of lived on Nintendo devices, so it makes sense. These are... I think it was the 3DS or the DS era. there was some solid stories, experiences. Man, there's too many good games coming out, guys. This is...
Yeah.
We're going to get to the one that's been enveloping our time here, Donovan, but like, I'm going to hit some other news stories before we get there, because I think they're kind of interesting. You know, Nintendo loves to sue, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
if there's one thing Nintendo loves to do, it's suing people and entities, usually to defend their IP. But this is kind of interesting. A couple weeks ago, the Supreme Court ruled that President Trump's tariffs were illegal. Can you imagine? Glorious leader doing something illegal? No idea how that happened. But Nintendo is suing the United States government over the tariffs. They want their tariffs back, David. All that money. They want it back. And they want it back now. So it's kind of interesting. We've seen FedEx now sue the U.S. government. You think about FedEx, they're, one of the largest deliverers of packages on Earth. They have had to deal with a lot of tariff penalties. And now Nintendo, we're seeing other companies do this. I think it's great. If the government did something illegal, these corporations should be able to sue them. Here's what sucks about this story. We all paid a lot for our... Actually, I did. I bought you guys Switch 2s. But I bought all these Switch 2s for our staff. I paid retail price for them in America. If Nintendo gets this money back, I don't get any money back. So the tax on the U.S. consumer remains, even if the corporations get their refunds. That fucking sucks.
It really does. And like, it's always been a thing where they've been circumventing the consumers all along, or it's just, we haven't even entered into this where it's always just going to be the corporations that ate those tariffs, or rather pass those costs on to us, that get the money back, and that sucks.
Yeah. So that really blows. And then, the money's going to come out of the U.S. Treasury, which our tax dollars go into, so we are indirectly getting boned on two sides by this. We paid the higher price to consume the products with the tariffs, and now we're going to have our debt, our national deficit's going to go up because of this. So that's shitty. But I appreciate Nintendo being one of these companies to be like, hey, you really fucked up our launch here. Pay us. Because they deserve, they have everything in their right to do this. And they should. And I feel that way about every corporation that's had to pay tariffs that were illegally placed on them. But man, does it suck from a consumer perspective. And I know the Trump administration has placed new tariffs out there. So, I don't know that we'll ever be in a non-tariff world, at least for the next few years. So I don't know if this will affect the price of the Nintendo Switch at all. It probably won't, which sucks. Because in a different universe, where the tariffs went down or went to zero, it would give Nintendo some room to lower the price. Now, granted, there's other things going on, which I'll get to here in a second, with the increase in memory and NAND prices. Maybe this would offset that for them. But yeah, the price of the Nintendo Switch, rumors about the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 going up, they've kind of been present for the past year. And it'll be interesting to watch this. I did some back of the envelope calculations as to how much money this would actually amount to. And this is just my own internal estimate. It would be about $1.1 billion. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting story. So, I'm a bit of a FUD buster, guys. You know what FUD stands for? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
I was going to ask what that meant.
Yeah. FUD is what, in the stock industry, Don, we call it FUD. When people are trying to just write stories about companies to make the stock move lower, usually, they write things that are just kind of, they're not lies, but they're kind of founded in some really stupid premises. And we've talked about this, guys. I think I mentioned it in my review. We talked about it really early in this podcast history, The Nintendo Switch 2 has limited storage. When you buy the thing, what is it? Is it 500? What is it?
256.
256 gigs on the device itself, and then you can buy a SDEX card, right? That adds 256, 512, up to a terabyte, I believe, of additional storage. But there's a dance that we do, and Dom, like, I know you've had to do it on your Switch 2 this year. Because, you know, you wrote about Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate.
Yeah.
And that's like 100 gigs. And you're like, I'm going to have to move some stuff around. But this is a dance I do on every device. I do this on my PlayStation 5. I do this on my Xbox Series X. I used to do this on my PC. I have a beast PC now that has a ton of storage. But I bought it right before everything went to shit. But Bloomberg ran a story that I want to talk about. Because I just think the premise is sound. Like, sure. Their headline is, Nintendo Switch 2 users face storage woes as memory crisis bites. This is not unique to Nintendo, right? Every single consumer product that uses NAND and RAM is running into this. The price of those things is going up. The price of those SD cards, the expansion cards, is going up. That's true. But instead of like having data about multiple users, this Takashi Mochizuki wrote this article for Bloomberg based on one person in Japan. An interview with one person in Japan. Shinsuke Hasegawa. Does anyone here know who Shinsuke Hasegawa is? Do any of you know who he is?
I didn't before last week.
He's an avid Japanese gamer who has never... I tried to find anything about this man. Ever. Right. He is just one person. We're talking about Bloomberg, multi-billion-dollar media enterprise, running a story based on one guy saying that the price of RAM and the price of, not just the price of RAM, the price of the expansion card for the Switch 2 is preventing him from buying Nintendo games. That's a bit of a jump to conclusion.
It is. Just a bit. Just a bit.
So I want to read this quote from the end. He's a 44-year-old. He had a huge digital library on his original Nintendo Switch, and he never played those games. He's like, I just bought them, and I never played them. But then he says at the end, like, if a new Mario game comes out, and it takes up to 100 gigabytes, I'm not sure I'd buy it.
First of all,
I don't think he's going to have that problem.
No. First of all, what first-party Switch 2 game has come even close to 100 gigabytes?
Not
Second, if it's a 3D Mario game, this dude and every other Switch 2 owner is going to make room for it.
I ran to check on the storage numbers of the Nintendo Switch 2 games that came out when we first covered this story. And like the biggest one by far is Metroid Prime 4, and it's like, let me see. It's 32 gigabytes or something like that.
It's 27.1 gigabytes, and I know this because Resident Evil Requiem is the exact same size. I was surprised by that, which means they can both come on game cards, not game key cards.
And I'm glad you brought that up, David, because not mentioned in this story is Furukawa-san's own guidance that Nintendo's earnings would not be affected by RAM prices. Not a single mention of the size of games made by first-party developers for Nintendo. And they mentioned the problem with game key cards and how those are basically downloads in a box. But they don't mention that, like, Nintendo games are smaller. The other thing they don't mention, because you mentioned Resident Evil, why is Resident Evil so much smaller on the Switch 2? It's because it's using the DLSS technology to super sample with the AI technology what is essentially a 540p texture. Like, Nintendo is doing more with less this generation, and other developers are doing more with less this generation. It's honestly irresponsible to run this story based on one Japanese man's opinion. You could say Nintendo Switch 2 gamer feels this way, But like you're gonna make a broad statement about everyone. And like, as people who have to review games, people who cover games, I do this thing on every single device. I'm like, oh, Death Stranding 2's out. Well, I'm gonna delete Ghost of Tsushima. It's not that I'm like deleting it forever, Shinsuke Hasegawa. It's just going away. I can reinstall it. Like, you don't delete the save files. You don't delete your progress when you do this. You're just deleting the game to make room for another game. If you're someone who plays Call of Duty Warzone, Donovan, that's like half of the storage on any video game console.
Maybe more.
Maybe even more. So, like, this is not unique to the Nintendo Switch 2. And to frame it that, oh, it's the rising costs of memory that are causing this. No. That's not... It's like they had a headline that they wanted to run, and then he called up his friend Shinsuke Hasegawa and was like, hey, can you give me some stupid quotes? I gotta run this story. So that's the first bit of FUD. I'm sorry, like, show me on the Link amiibo where Nintendo touched you, Bloomberg, because I really don't know. I really don't know what's going on with that outlet. And I'll say this, as someone who used to be long Apple back in the day, the way that Bloomberg is covering Nintendo these days reminds me of how they used to cover Apple when Steve Jobs was running it. Bloomberg ran an obituary for Steve Jobs in the fall of 2008. He died in March of 2009. The stock went down. Because, you know, there's all these programmatic traders that, like, have Bloomberg terminals, and they saw the headline that Steve Jobs was dead, and the stock crashed. In 2008, in the fall of 2008. Like, I'm not saying that was an accident. I actually called them that day. They're like, yeah, apparently Bloomberg pre-writes obituaries. They just have them ready to go for people. And apparently
a lot of those bigger outlets do. New York Times, Washington Post.
But who said it live, Donovan?
Somebody who had a really bad day at work. I imagine.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that's the only example, but I'm saying that this is conjecture based on one person. And, like, not mentioned here, the sales of Mario Kart World. Like, there's so many people who talk about how Nintendo doesn't have a big game to sell the Switch 2, David. How many times have you heard that? Like, I've heard it. Nintendo had a weak first-party launch lineup. A weak first-party launch lineup that launched with fucking Mario Kart World?
Yeah.
And you got a Donkey Kong Bonanza game, and you got Kirby Air Riders. Like, you got Metroid Prime 4, Hyrule Warriors. Like, we really think that the Switch 2 launch lineup, we really think it's weak? Or is the consumer weak? Are people just struggling? Like, it's hard out there. I get that. Like, Metroid Prime 4 didn't sell well. It didn't. Like, it's just a lot of jumps to conclusions here, and it made me dizzy. But anyway, if you're Shinsuke Hasegawa and you're out there listening to this podcast because clearly you care about Nintendo games enough to think that a Mario game would be 100 gigs? 100 gig 3D Mario game.
Whew.
Imagine how big that game would be.
I know.
Like, no fucking way. If I'm wrong and there's a 100 gig Mario game coming, I will issue an apology to both Bloomberg and Shinsuke Hasegawa.
That feels like the safest taco bet ever made.
This is so ridiculous. That's not all. But wait, there's more. Yeah, I love Go Nintendo. This is not hate on Go Nintendo. Go Nintendo is just observing and reporting. But what they reported was kind of founded in idiocy. Toyo Securities analyst Hideki Yasuda says Nintendo loses $160 per Switch 2 sold in Japan. But the math doesn't math, guys. I did the math. The article states that Nintendo Switch 2 sells for 49,980 yen in Japan, which Go Nintendo incorrectly states is about $343. So let's just go with their number first. This analyst says that it cost Nintendo somewhere around $400 to produce. So let's just assume $400. So 400 minus 343, guys, is $57. How do you write a headline saying $160 when, based on your own reporting, it's $57? then, wait, there's more, guys. I do math. I math super hard. So I was like, okay, what is the actual currency translation of $49,980 right now? It's actually somewhere around $317, which means by my math, based on this analyst assumption, they're losing like $83 per Switch too, if this analyst is correct. But $83 is about half of 160. So the math doesn't math. Their own math in the article. Like, how can you be this stupid? I'm sorry, guys. Like, I love Go Nintendo. I love games media people. But there's like a fundamental misunderstanding of how math works in our industry. Like, and there's also this conflation of two things. And I want to make it abundantly clear to people. There's sales and revenue, and there's profit and earnings. These are two different things. Sales price is one thing. Earnings is the other thing. The difference between the sales and the expenses is gross profit. And then there's operating expenses and all these other things that lead you to net profit. It's quite a jump to go from a $57 based on their own reporting to $160 in the headline. It implies that, okay, is the analyst saying that it cost them $60 on the margin for the product, but then there's also another $70 or $100 for the transit of the delivering the product? That can't be that expensive. Like, they're drop shipping these in bulk to Japan. Are they losing money in Japan? Maybe. I don't know. I know it's lower margin because last quarter, we know that they sold more Nintendo Switch 2s in Japan than they did in a lot of other regions, and that's why their profit margins were lower. But do I think Nintendo's selling it at a loss? No, I don't. They hate selling consoles at a loss. They haven't done it, I think, since the Wii U. So, anyway, I'm out here busting FUD, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You guys understand what I'm saying there? Like, their own reporting. It's basic arithmetic.
Yeah, they didn't seem to check it at all.
It's irresponsible to run headlines like this. And I am going to call you out on social. I've taken over the $sign Nintendo tag on Twitter because it is like absurd. What's going on? And yes, I own Nintendo stock. And yes, I'm very vocal about how I've been buying it lately. And by the way, it's up a fuck ton since I've been buying it. Oops. But like, it's these jaboofers that give shareholders the opportunity. Like, the only reason that individual stock picking works is there is a disconnect between reality and perception of companies. There's what's actually happening, and there's what people think is happening. And when there's that wide of a disconnect, it creates opportunity for intelligent investors who are able to look past the bullshit. And I am just showing my homework to people for free on Twitter. And I know Twitter's a cesspool, but it used to be one of the best sources for financial information. It was a crowdsourced search engine for financial information. And I think there are still people out there looking for that. So when I see your bullshit article, I'm going to call you out on it. And it's no disrespect to the outlet. I just want people to look at the truth. But anyway, what a concept. Speaking of Twitter being a hellhole, did you see this god-awful White House tweet? And I know that sounds like that's every day right now. But there was this cool little, last week, right around the Pokemon Pokopia release time, and there's this cool little text generation thing for like you could write any sentence and it would show up on the Pokopia logo, right?
Yeah.
The White House tweeted out one that said, "Make America Great Again" or something. The Pokémon Company, last time this happened, remember, there was a video, I believe the White House was glorifying ICE raids, where they were rounding up immigrants and incarcerating them and deporting them. And they put it to the song, the theme from the Pokemon TV show, Gotta Catch 'Em All. Pokemon Company didn't say anything at that time, and we actually talked about it on the show, and we were disappointed in the Pokemon Company for not saying anything. This time, the Pokemon Company came out straight up and did make a statement. We are aware of recent social content that includes imagery associated with our brand. We were not involved in its creation or distribution, and no permission was granted for the use of our intellectual property. This is the part I liked. Our mission is to bring the world together, and that mission is not affiliated with any political viewpoint or agenda. I'm just happy to see them say something. And I think it's... It happened again. I think last night. Health and Human Services, former heroin addict, also now head of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tweeted out a Smash Bros. Melee parody video where he was talking about fighting off the evils of the food industry. So Nintendo has yet to make a statement on that. But shout out to the Pokemon Company for at least saying something. But this leads me to a much happier topic. Donovan, Pokemon Pokopia is delightful.
It is all I can think about these days. Playing it nonstop.
we were watching the Mario trailer and working on it, and I'm like, I could hear just little bips and bops out of Donovan's Discord. I'm like, Donovan, are you playing Pokopia right now? And he's like, yep. It reminds me, David, of the meetings we were having in 2020 where everyone was on Discord, but we were all playing Animal Crossing at the same time. Yeah, Donovan, I fucking love this game. I can't stop thinking about it. I was just like, I was somewhere, I was like in the real world, and I saw a bunch of branches on the ground, and I was like, man, if I had the scissor attack, I could chop that into, usable lumber. It's just like random stuff pops into my head throughout the day where I think about that game, Donovan. I was playing it at nighttime last night. That nighttime theme is so soothing. Dude,
the music is amazing. Wait till you get the music player, which is awesome. It's like you get CDs that have different songs on them. Songs from mainline Pokemon games. They have music from the OG games, the DS, even some of the Switch games, and you play them, and it's 1-to-1. Even the 8-bit era music. They have the classic Pokemon Center song, Mount Moon from Red and Blue. Crazy.
That's awesome.
So good.
I've acquired a CD or two so far, but I haven't got the player yet.
Okay, you'll get to that at some point.
Here's the thing. I don't progress fast in games like this. I don't know if you remember, David. I had a tent in Animal Crossing for a month.
You did.
I just I didn't build a house for a while. I still haven't paid off my loan to Tom Nook. Fuck that guy. But I'm playing this, Donovan, at my pace, and I think that's what's really fucking cool about Pokemon Pokopia is that we're seeing Joe Merrick, God bless his soul, over there at R.O.B, speed running this game and time traveling and doing everything he can because he is the encyclopedia for Pokemon. He has completed the decks already. His community helps him with that stuff, and he admittedly is this isn't really my type of game, but I really like it, kind of thing. But it's been so fascinating to see the social content around this time and the things that people are building, the roller coaster, the waterfalls, the lava waterfalls, the cities, the buildings that people are making, and then just the revelation that this might be the best implementation of the Joy-Con 2 mouse in a game yet.
It's, to me, essential for building because obviously they have prefab homes you can build for yourself or your Pokemon, but then you can actually just take the blocks yourself, Minecraft or Dragon Quest Builders, which is the better comparison style, and just place them yourself and create structures and homes and whatnot. And when you use the Joy-Con, you can reach further. A cursor's on screen and you can precisely place the blocks where you want them instead of walking up and spitting them out as Ditto. It's actually pretty essential to the larger scale building projects.
And it's fascinating to me because there's so much of this diamond that is like Dragon Quest Builders, right?
Yeah.
But there's
even
also,
the devs.
Yeah, but there's also this element that is very much like Animal Crossing. They call them DIY recipes, David.
Yeah.
They straight up call them DIY recipes, Donovan. It's the same thing they call them in Animal Crossing.
It's a game that takes a lot of notes from Animal Crossing and Dragon Quest builders. I think it's a great marriage of both because, like, it does do the Animal Crossing thing where it's tied to the real life time cycle, right? The sun goes down in real life, it's nighttime in the game. There are things that only happen at night, or Pokemon you can only encounter at night, you know, Zubat, Hoot Hoot, Noctowl, those types. But then, like, there's even, like, I guess you'd call it time gating, right? Where you go to build a house and it's like, this is a small little hut. It'll take 15 minutes. You build a bigger one. It'll take an hour. Then you try to build the big grand house that you can fit like 4 Pokemon in or have like 2 floors. It'll be ready tomorrow. You go to restore the Pokemon Center. It'll be ready tomorrow. So there is like, time is a game mechanic in and of itself, right? And it's a resource essentially that you use. And I think that to me speaks to what you were saying, Asif, about playing at your own pace and taking your time, right? Where I think you can get super in the weeds and time travel and be like, all right, I'm going to skip forward and get all the stuff I need. But I'm having a lot of fun just like letting the game kind of just go. I'm like, all right, I've assigned Riolu and, Torchic to build this little hut. It'll be done later. I'll come check on that. I'll go do some other stuff. I'll go grow some plants. But then I think where the Pokemon themselves at such a unique angle is that they all have their own abilities. Obviously, Pokemon have types, right? There's fire, water, grass, steel. And they're so cleverly translated in Pokopia because they do things that help you around the world. So like Bulbasaur has the grow power. So you bring Bulbasaur to like some seeds you've planted, he'll just progress them one stage. He'll just help them grow. Obviously, you still need to wait overnight. But if they're at like phase 2, he'll just take them straight to phase 3 or 1 to 2. If you've got like Squirtle can help you water the ground or plants or whatever you need. Charmander has the burn ability, which you can use to like smelt ingots. You put them in a furnace, you bring Charmander over, he's like, hey, I got this. But then it goes to like electric types. I have a Mary, which I had follow me around, and there were a bunch of like light posts that weren't on. And the game's like, hey, maybe if you had electricity, these would turn on. I bring my electric Pokemon, and it's like, oh, I can do this for you. He does like this little animation, and electricity goes and powers up my light posts and vending machines. I've got like a little stage where like now it lights up and it like rotates when you stand on it and plays music. Every Pokemon has like something they bring to the table. One of my favorites is the like the build ability. Like every structure needs somebody that can build, and they explore the Pokédex in a fun way because it's not just the fan favorites like Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, but there's also like Timber and Colossal and these like weird deep cut Pokemon that like you wouldn't really know if you weren't playing a lot of those games in the middle gens there. But the fact that like, yeah, you need a Pokemon like Timber who can like build to initiate the build on anything. Heracross is like a build Pokemon. Blaziken is such a fun exploration of the Pokedex, and I think it's just been a perfect fit for that game format.
I'm glad you brought up the Pokedex, Donovan. It's the reverence for the Pokedex that I think makes this game appeal to so many fans from across the series, where it's like it intertwines the unlocking of abilities in the game for you, the story itself, and that mechanic of what you have to build to summon, like creating the habitat, right? I was talking to my brother about this game, and I'm like, what I really love about this game is that it boils down to comfort. You ask your Pokemon after you summon them, how can I make your life more comfortable? And that is such an interesting premise for a game. It's about, yeah, okay, you got Charmander, but can I make him a bed? Can I make him a house? But also, the thing I loved about Pokemon Legends ZA, and I think Pokemon games have varying degrees of this historically, this game is masterfully written, Donovan.
Yeah.
It's hilarious at times. We mentioned Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is the most lovable doofus I've seen in a video game in a very long time. Like, you get to the crafting table, and Bulbasaur's like, oh, this is probably a bed. And then, like, the game's like, this is a crafting table.
I'm glad you mentioned the humor, because There's that. There's Bellsprout, who's like the first evolution of the flower Pokemon thing, and it's like, I'm gonna grow up to be like this beautiful flower one day, don't you think? And it's like, Bellsprout evolves into Victory Bell, which is like this monster mutant-looking Pokemon that's got like poison dripping out of its like mouth by fangs. It's really funny. There's a great sense of humor in this game. Even in the item descriptions, when you're like looking at blocks, it'll be like, I found like a desk, like an office desk the other day, and it was like, you feel smarter just looking at it. Or like I had like an antique table, and it was like, put this in your house if you want people to think you're fancy. There's like a lightheartedness to everything in this game that's just so funny.
It's masterfully written, but also the narrative is fascinating. Like, I think this game is about climate change, and I'll say it, this is a Strand game.
Oh boy.
It is.
I have been following closely as to what this game's lore is about, and I'm inclined to agree. It's based on what I've seen.
David, you start this game, there are no Pokemon except for the Professor Tangrowth. And Tangrowth's like, all the humans are gone. We don't know where they are. You have to help me reconnect the world. You have to help me build this world. You have to help me regrow this world. It is a game about reconnecting society. It is.
With hopes of bringing the people back.
With hopes of bringing the people back. Like, it's a Strand game. I'm sorry. This is a Strand game. It's a cozy game. But, like, what I think is fascinating is, like, there is this element of, like, it's desolate. When you start the game, it doesn't rain anymore. This world is kind of dystopian at first, right? Like, it is. Like, it's a barren wasteland. And then you bring Pokemon back by creating beautiful things. I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's a Death Stranding game, but there's an element of reconnecting society in this game. And, like, I will be caping for this when we vote for Strand Game of the Year, because I always find it hilarious when we put up Death Stranding next to a game as cute as Pokopia. But, like,
next to literally any other game.
Yeah, it's funny. Really. It's a funny, silly thing. And video games journalism should have more funny, silly things. But, Donovan, like, this game is so fucking cute. Like, there are times where I stop and I'm like, I'm taken back by just how adorable this is. Like, you got a Charmander sleeping next to the fire and Bulbasaur's behind him, and, like, I love the reference to the IP, like the original starters are your original first three in this. Like, it's just so note for note perfect so far. And then there are these moments like it's so cute. You just like, follow me, and they follow you around. You can have this little parade of Pokemon following you around your world. And it's like, I've seen all these videos of people just doing that, Donovan, and you have like, it's just so goddamn cute. Like, this game is so cute. It's not violent. And then there's this element of the creator aspect, and I think it's something that you got really into in Animal Crossing, David, that, like, this is almost next level. Like, what people are doing already with this game is crazy.
I am so excited for you to try this game out, David, because I think you're going to fall in love with it, and especially the builder elements, right? Because there are thousands of items in this game. You can make like railroads. You can put like a railroad track. That's how people made roller coasters. You can put down railroad tracks and make rail cars. Your Pokemon will ride them with you. There's different like relics and stuff you can find, like fossils and whatnot. You can make like essentially a museum. In fact, I found a museum like underground in like a cave somewhere, and there was a Pokemon inside of it that I talked to. To me, it's like just brilliantly designed. As I play through it, it's like they've thought of everything. Every time I'm like, and again, to, do the bingo thing where compared to Breath of the Wild, it's like every time you think like, oh, I wonder if these two things interact in this way. Yeah, they do. There's just like always like an answer every time you think like, oh, what if like I put a bonfire next to Charmander's house? He got happier because it's a fire type Pokemon. He likes it when it's warm in his habitat. Or, I put like I had Onyx, which is the big rock snake, was like, I'd love it if there was like a something I could use to relax around here. And I'm like, well, what's in my inventory? Because I'm cheap. I don't want to make a new thing. I put down like this little wooden bench, and he's like, this is nice, but it's a little small for me. And I'm like, you're right, Onyx. Why would you sit on a 2-foot bench? You're like this 12-foot snake monster. There's just so much detail in everything. I sent the clip today, or did I send it, or maybe somebody else did, where you take like the the Game Boys. You can get like a Game Boy item that you can just like throw on a shelf. You put two of them next to each other, and it puts a link cable between them.
I think you did send that. I saw.
Yeah. There's just a million details like that. I've got like a Pikachu couch that I'm waiting to put in my house once I finish renovating it. They have these dolls that are based on different Pokemon. There's like an Arcanine doll. There's a Ditto doll. And when you interact with them, you can go to Cloud Islands, which are these like other universe worlds where you can pretty much go and strip them for like unique resources and furniture and stuff, and then come back to your place. There's like, it's almost overwhelming, legitimately. Like I'm playing and I'm like, oh, I have a request to like give this vegetable to this person. Or like to make this food for this Pokemon. And then I'm like, oh, I need that vegetable. Oh, I need to go to this place to get that vegetable. Oh, I should get this Pokemon to help me grow this vegetable faster. Oh, wait, this Pokemon's upset because they don't have like a chair at their house. Oh, I can make them a chair real quick. And I'll like find myself down this like hour and a half rabbit hole of stuff I didn't even mean to do. And I'm like, whoa, I don't even know what's happening. I've played it nonstop the last like 4 or 5 days, and I feel like I haven't done anything yet. It's remarkable.
I can't wait to check it out.
I see your, like on my friends list, Donovan, like when I log in, I'm like, yep, Donovan's playing Pokopia. It's like every time I turn on my Switch the past week, it's just been Donovan playing Pokopia. But like, I'm playing it every day. The thing I noticed, Donovan, this open world is vast. It's huge.
Yeah.
It is huge, David. It's like 50 times bigger than your island in Animal Crossing. Like,
wow.
That's the thing that annoyed me about Animal Crossing New Horizons is like there's a limit to things. You can only have so many ramps. You can only do this so many times. You run out of resources, right? Like, this is not about, this is like, what do you want to do? And that's why it's like Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Dragon Quest Builders, but then this like, it is like Minecraft in a lot of ways, Donovan, where it's like the stuff we're seeing, the creativity that is happening because of these different systems. I do think Breath of the Wild is an interesting comparison in that, or even Tears, where like you think about like, can I do this with this? Yes, you can. That's usually the answer in Pokopia, and I do think it's masterfully designed for that reason.
Ooh. Another mechanic that I love that I wanted to call out. So they have, obviously, it's a camera. You can take selfies and pictures. In the camera, there's a button you can toggle that'll scan objects, like in the lens. And what that does is you can go back to a Pokemon Center and use those pictures to duplicate those items. You have to use like a rare resource for it called like Pokemetal ingots or whatever. I have like 30 or 40 of them. But essentially, if you haven't unlocked the recipe for an item or haven't found it yourself, but you see it in the wild or on a friend's world while you're playing multiplayer or like on a dream island, you can be like, whoa, let me just take a picture of that like Charizard rug because I don't know how to get a Charizard rug. But then you go home and you can just make one. You can just duplicate it from the picture. Which is such a cool mechanic for these kind of games, because it is kind of frustrating sometimes to be constantly like, wait, where do you get the tree with the face on? Like, I think that mechanic is so clever. Yeah.
It's really smart. I like that.
Yep. I've been using that a bunch because I keep like, again, the world's been destroyed. So you find a lot of houses that are like half built, right? That are missing walls or like roof tiles. And a lot of them look nice. And I'm like, I don't have that like blue sloped roof, whatever the hell that is. So I'll just scan it. And I'm like, oh, I can just make 3 of those right now. Boom, boom, boom. And then I fill in the roof. It's very satisfying.
There are a lot of climate change themes in this game, though. Like, it does feel like it is it's not like trying to make a statement about it, but there is just this narrative overarching the game where it's like something bad happened and you can fix it. I think that's like a hopeful thing.
That's kind of the core conceit of a lot of the Dragon Quest Builder. As far as I have heard, the Dragon Quest Builders team worked on this. Mm-hmm. Like people that worked on those games. That's a core conceit of the original Dragon Quest Builders games too. I don't know if you know this, Donovan, but the Dragon Quest Builders games are based on a storyline from the first Dragon Quest game where where the Erdrick joined the Dragon Lord and destroyed the world. And
okay, I don't think I knew that. No,
that's interesting.
And the idea is that you play a descendant of Erdrick trying to repair the world and fix what was broken.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I like that. I want to go back and play DQ Builders too. Now that I know how good Pokopia is,
they're very good games.
They are.
No. Yeah.
It's fascinating. This is gonna talk about the weirdest game of the year debate ever. That we're gonna have Pokopia next to Resident Evil 9. Like, David, you were worried about Mario Maker 3 showing up. Pokopia is gonna be the problematic.
No, I'm not too worried about it, just because it's going to be like, for me, this will be like 2020, where it came down to, for a lot of people, Animal Crossing and Half-Life Alyx, where I was fine with either one winning.
Yeah.
Because I like them both that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's where we're going to be here. And, the year's still got GTA 6 coming. So this is a fascinating.
I'd be very surprised if it was my game of the year, but we'll save that discussion for another time.
I reserve judgment until the game comes out. But
exactly.
GTA 5 wasn't my game of the year it came out, because I didn't enjoy the Trevor scene that people know.
Yeah.
But we should probably stop the podcast so we can play more Pokopia. Honestly, this is. I see people being like, I had to stop playing Pokopia. Why? They're like, I had to go to work. It's the worst feeling.
I have a friend I can see every morning. She's getting on at 6 a.m. before she has to leave for work, just to do some quick tasks in her world. And I'm like, man, that's a level of dedication.
If you can fit, and I just try to fit it into my life, and it's, I saw a lot of people are like, oh, Animal Crossing is, old and busted, and this is the new hotness kind of argument, and I'm like, I feel like they're different games. Animal Crossing is very chill and doesn't really it doesn't push you to do stuff. This game does, I wouldn't say it pushes you, but it incentivizes you to do things. You get this, I think, more tactile feeling of reward, Donovan, in this game than you do Animal Crossing. You get your leaf tickets, and you get your, what are those, the dodo points or whatever, David, for doing the things, but that just all goes towards buying stuff, whereas the way that they set up the store in this is you unlock different, your environment level down, right, it unlocks different things that you can buy in the store. I feel like they've iterated on the gameplay progression elements of Animal Crossing in a way that just, I think it incentivizes people to keep doing stuff in this game differently than Animal Crossing does. Animal Crossing, you can just turn on the game and be like, I'm gonna fish all day. It's just it's whatever you want to do. And I feel like Pokopia allows for that. But I'm frequently, to your point, Donovan, it's you talk to this Pokemon, they want you to give him a chair. Oh, well, now I have to get him a chair. I talked to a Pokemon, he wants some flowers. Oh, I'm gonna go get him some flowers. It's a completely different game, but it is like Breath of the Wild, where, you fire up Breath of the Wild and you're like, I'm going to go to that tower. And then 50 things happen to you between where you are and that tower that distract you from doing the thing that you did, that you wanted to do when you started the game. That's where Pokopia resembles Breath of the Wild in a lot of ways to me, Donovan. Which is such a weird thing to say, but at the same time, it is Breath of the Wild was like that, where I would fire it up and then I'd look up and I'd be like, oh my god, it's been 10 hours. That was my weekend in Pokopia. I'm like, Squirtle wanted to go to the beach, David, so I took Squirtle to the beach, damn it.
Good man.
And then I ran into a Magikarp, and the Magikarp was like, oh, I need a house. And you're like, oh fuck, I gotta go build a house for Magikarp. Then you walk back and the other Pokemon wants flowers. It's
hey, Asif. What do you call a Magikarp who builds houses?
A magic carpenter?
A carpenter. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah, it's great. We'll be talking about this game more. Don has taken his time to review the game, as he should.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do like the story, Donovan. I think it's a cool story. I love how the gameplay informs the story. The emergent gameplay stuff that's happening in this is already really cool. I think the photo stuff is great. I love that photos you take in the game show up on your home screen when you start the game.
Yes. There are items, there are picture frames and corkboards. You can put the photos on display like furniture.
Yeah.
That's so
You
cool.
get like a picture frame, you can hang it up and just open your library and just toss one into it. Yeah.
Yeah, before we go, ditto for Smash.
Ditto for Smash, yes.
Ditto for Smash.
I saw this going around this weekend. I think it was Roger Space. He's a Pokemon content creator. I saw saying it. Never have I seen an idea and was immediately like, yes, this has to happen now.
Yeah, ditto for Smash. Human ditto for Smash.
It makes too much sense. You've got all the abilities. You've got like all the the attacks that can be like the side specials and the up Bs. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ditto for Smash. Smash. We probably need a new Smash game before we do that. But that's for another episode. So I'll do it for this week in Switch 2. We'll be back next week. And just as a reminder, I will be streaming. Dom, I think you're streaming Pokopia on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I will be
afternoon.
streaming Ball Pit on Thursday night. So keep an eye out. And TJ has Indie-licious today. So by the time this podcast goes live, you could watch TJ's VOD. On our YouTube channel. What are you playing this week, TJ?
Slay the Spire 2 entered early access, and it's the hotness.
Ooh,
so we're going to be
that's a
hitting
big
that.
one.
There you go. So that's not on Switch 2 yet, but it'll probably be there someday. And yeah, I think they came out the same day as Marathon, and they had Steam crashed. It was that there was that much downloading going on between Slay the Spire and Marathon apparently. So Slay the Spire devs, they were like, we apologize for releasing such a wildly successful game this weekend. It's one of the best press releases I've seen in a while.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's just it was just a funny little thing. But yeah, so yeah, check out our YouTube channel, which you're probably on. Like, follow, and subscribe here. Follow us on all the social channels. We'll let David get back to the Game Developers Conference. Thanks, TJ, for reviewing Monster Hunter Stories 3. Sorry, the full name escapes me. Twisted Reflection. Which got an 8 out of 10 here at Shacknews. And yeah, good luck to you, Donovan, in your journeys as Ditto. Someday, I hope we meet up in that game and box each other. Have you seen that? People are fighting. There's a fight. There's a Pokopia Fight Club happening now. You don't talk about Pokopia Fight Club, so I broke the rules already. But that'll do it. We'll see everyone next time. Bye-bye.